Who were the Black Angels? 300 brilliant nurses who put their own lives on the line for decades and whose work resulted in tens of millions of lives saved. We're talking late 1920s to early 1950s. Tuberculosis, TB, also called consumption, was a leading cause of death, taking the life of about 1 out of every 7 people in the States and Europe. They called it consumption because it ravages a person's lungs and appears to consume them from within. TB is very painful and very contagious, especially in a densely populated city like New York. Now, this is still Jim Crow era, so a lot of hospitals are segregated. But at the largest TB hospital in New York City, Seaview Hospital out here on Staten Island, yes, I came all the way to Staten Island just to show you this sign. Worth it. Patients here were largely integrated, but the facility was grossly overcrowded, severely underfunded, and lacked even basic safety equipment like smocks and masks. Because of the horrid conditions, white nurses refused to work. They walked off the job, leaving behind thousands of patients far too sick to be transferred to regular hospitals. Now, the city didn't want to just release all these poor, helpless, highly contagious people back into society, but they desperately needed nurses to care for them. So they had the idea to recruit Black nurses from southern states, where jobs open to Black women were even harder to come by than up here. Once these women arrived, they were overworked, underpaid, and systematically assigned the most dangerous and undesirable jobs. Nonetheless, they conducted themselves with such dignity and compassion that they became known as the Black Angels. They worked tirelessly throughout the Great Depression and World War II, caring for folks otherwise discarded by society. They developed extraordinary skills and gained such intricate knowledge of how this deadly disease developed. They were tasked with conducting clinical trials for potential cures for TB. They administered medications, they closely observed patients, they took meticulous notes, and gathered detailed data until they could prove the effectiveness of the drug that finally worked. Death rates by TB dropped by 90%, saving literally millions of lives around the world. Now, the doctors overseeing the trials were congratulated and praised, whereas the nurses on the front line were largely forgotten about. But had it not been for the Black Angels, a cure for TB would have certainly been delayed, if not maybe not found at all, and we would still only be surviving TB on a wing and a prayer.